There's a new trend where TikTok shops are asking to lease your space on your TikTok to promote their products, as in, they will be taking over part of your account to promote their products. Is this something you should legally be cautious of? Let's talk to our favorite IP and entertainment lawyer, Tony, to find out more.
My name is Tony Iliakostas. I'm an adjunct professor of entertainment law and IP at New York Law School. And I have an Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok account called The IP Professor that's dedicated to all things intellectual property.
We've been talking a lot about how to appropriately work on TikTok Shop, but recently we've been getting a lot of emails. I personally have been getting a lot of emails from companies who not only want me to market their products, but would like to lease my TikTok Shop, meaning I set it up on my TikTok channel, then they have full control of what goes on inside of that behind the veil of me. So, Tony, can we talk about the legalities of this and what we need to look out for?
Well, I think it's an ingenious idea, but it poses a bevy of risks just from a very facial perspective. First off, the fact that you're giving someone carte blanche access to your TikTok shop, it's like no different than giving someone, keys to your house without expecting any sort of rent, if you will. It's the kind of thing that just gives me pause in those types of scenarios. The other thing to bear in mind is, is that even allowed? I know that there is a thing where certain e-commerce websites will, whitelist, or they'll have some type of access to the stats or insights on a given Facebook page to sort of see, if there was an ad to promote the sale of merchandise that e-commerce website X is promoting on behalf of a brand, they'll get to see what the engagement looks like if people actually click through it. It also allows that specific website to gather all the insights to see what is the population of followers among brand X. So I could see the incentive in something like that. That doesn't feel like what's happening here, though. I actually think this is no different than if someone were just taking full control over your account, and now they have access to your privacy issue, to your privacy, your confidential information. So becomes a privacy issue at that point. They also have access to other personal information. They may make certain claims or statements or sell certain products that you yourself may not endorse or think that you're okay with selling. You may be the type of person that also believes in quality, and the quality assurance with a lot of these TikTok shops is like in the gutter. Like, I'm not even going to go there, but let me put it to you this way: people that consistently shop on Temu legitimately do not care about quality at all. Like, the quality assurance in those websites is like sub-zero, like subterranean. So needless to say, I think, naturally from a legal perspective, those are the broader concerns. But at a granular level, I think, there are other issues to consider. Like, if you were to give, access to your TikTok shop to a specific entity, what's going to be the cut? Are you getting a majority of sales? Like, let's say there's going to be a royalty split. Is it going to be a 70-30 split? Is it going to be 80-20? Is it even going to be a 50-50 split? If you're the kind of person that really wants to see more bang out of your buck, are you going to be more on the heavy, I want more money side of things, or are you willing to, are you a firm believer in equity, if you will? So something like that. Also, discussion of term. How long is this? I think, again, thinking from a very legally conservative point of view, I would not do this on an indefinite basis. I would define a specific term to allow this specific type of use, only because, again, you're giving this person or this entity so much access to your account, and you're making it potentially vulnerable for them to collect specific data or privacy info. I think that you don't want to have that on an indefinite basis. A month, 2 months, 3 months, maybe 4 months even is something that I think could be a reasonable term, just to at least trial it and see if it's something worthwhile. And then I also think what's really important is to have certain contractual provisions that protect you as a user, to make sure that if they don't live up to their end of the bargain, or if they do something that could constitute a breach, that you're not relying on TikTok's safety team for help to remedy the issue, but that rather you have some form of documentation that lays out specific representations and warranties, certain indemnification clauses, certain legal parameters that will protect you as a user, to make sure that you're not being adversely affected by someone that is gaining access to your TikTok shop. Now, I think the bigger thing that we haven't even acknowledged is you want to make sure that this is okay, even in the scope of TikTok. So because potentially it may not be, and that could even forfeit your rights as a TikTok user. You may be unknowingly violating certain terms and conditions that could be against the grain of what TikTok's policies are, and ergo you lose your account. So I think the checklist that any user that is contemplating this idea should consider is A, look at the TikTok terms and conditions to verify if something like this kind of like subleasing, if you will, of your TikTok shop is even allowed. B, you want to gather all of the info related to what the nature of the relationship will be between you and this entity that would run your TikTok shop. And C, if you do want to proceed and go forward, having some type of contract in place to legally protect you is imperative in this process. Now, that said, this is my opinion. I would highly dissuade people from doing something like this because I just think it poses more risks than actual benefits. But if you don't believe me and if you think that it's worthwhile talking to a lawyer, please go speak to a lawyer, especially one that specializes in the influencer space, content creation space, social media, just so that you can at least get a second, a third, even a fourth opinion to make sure that you're making not only a proper legal decision, but you're also making a sound business decision, because at the end of the day, what matters most above all is your privacy and your rights as a content creator on platforms like TikTok.
And as a social media educator who works with hundreds and hundreds of people who are on TikTok and the other social platforms, I will, with my opinion, also encourage you to run very far away, very fast. Don't respond, don't engage, do not give them the time of day. It is not going to be worth it in the long run, but that's up to you. And if you do choose to move forward with this, have a contract in place with a lawyer. Don't do it without a lawyer. I'm just saying, make sure you're protecting yourself, because once you give them access to these things, you don't know if you can get it back. And you worked really hard on your TikTok, so let's not mess it up. But if you have further questions, now's the time to drop those for us. Tony's coming back for upcoming episodes. And as more and more new features roll out, and as more very interesting things pop up because of those features, we will be back with upcoming episodes. And as always, you can reach out to Tony's social media. Tony, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at the IP Professor. And you can check out my entertainment law podcast called Unseen, with new episodes dropping every Friday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Drop your questions down below, because so much is happening in the world of TikTok, TikTok shops, everything that's going on the platform right now. We're dropping daily videos to help you navigate the world of TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, live streaming, the tools and resources you need to level up your content. So every time these things pop up, we will be here breaking that news to you so that you can make the best choices for you and for your brand moving forward as you are working on TikTok and the other social platforms. We'll see you in the upcoming episodes.